Well, welcome everybody to another advanced Rotary session. I am Bulldog 6, one of the instructors on Tactical DCS, and I'd like to welcome everybody to today's session. Today's session is going to be something that is a very common activity that we do all the time. It is, in essence, reacting to contact. How do we do it? What do we do? When do we do it? How do we work as a group? How do we work as a team? So as you see here, we have all sorts of these DCS aircraft that we can participate with. And what is the common thing that we do? We go on to a Tactical DCS server. We do friends. We do other groups. We get on and we get on servers that are PvE or, you know, person versus person, and we do our missions. And what happens is we might be flying along and then all of a sudden we see tracer fires. Well, what do we do? Or we are flying over a mountain environment, which is a mobile or military operations in urban terrain, and that's a city environment, and they are shooting at us from the rooftops. What do we do? Or we're doing a mission, we're transporting, and all of a sudden, boom, we have smoke in the air, somebody's fired at us. What do we do? So let's go ahead and get right straight into it. So today, the purpose of this tac is to create a tactical SOP. You can create this. You're putting this in your toolbox to establish your own methods and practices. I'm just giving you examples and showing you that, hey, this is how we kind of do things, and you can massage it and you can make it better for your group. How you operate, maybe even the equipment that you operate. Different helicopters do different things. So, in that type of environment, you're creating your own SOPs. So, this is going to be to help you utilize a tactical SOP so you can go beyond just flying the aircraft, and you can employ tactics and maneuvers so you and your team can survive on the battlefield. What's the worst thing to happen? You're flying along and then bam, there was a missile that shot up right behind you. You didn't see it. It was smoke in the air. You got the black screen of death. You have to restart and you have to do it all over again. Man, well, if you come with how do I do it? How do I survive? How can I make this work? That'll make it a greater and more challenging experience. Plus, you'll get more out of it. So, for the agenda today, we're going to be talking about fundamentals from start to finish. We're going to look at our tax op. Okay, so this is the 501st. This is a made up unit, the 501st Aviation Battalion. And I utilize this as an example of what right looks like. So you have a basis to work off of. We're going to review some of the basics so everybody's on the same sheet of music before we get into the nitty gritty. We'll be talking about formations. We'll be talking about traveling techniques. And then we'll eventually talk about how to react to enemy fire. And then finally, we will do the practical, which is conducting an actual flight in practice area. So let's get straight into it. Tactical SOPs. So what are they? They are the how-to for you and your group to operate. Each one can be massaged, can be created, and it can be as simple as, hey, when we do this, we are going to do X. We do this, we're going to do Y. There is not one way to say this is the right way or the wrong way. It is how you do it. So let's go ahead and go back into the formations. Reminder of formations. When we're doing a flight real quick, we're doing staging, we're doing formation flying, we're landing, we're taking off as groups. What type of formations that we have? Here's a reminder. We have a heavy left, heavy right. We do a staggered formation. Most of the times we do staggered formations when we're flying as a group. We're in a combat area. We might do trail or ranger file. We're in a line. We might do a diamond if we want to have our heavy protection. We might be heavy left, heavy right, depending on we're going to see type of enemy activity. We might do an echelon formation because it might be great for management or practicing and so forth. What type of distance are we looking at? Now, this is really important. Day and night, a close and a loose formation. How far away are you going to be? Rotor widths of the aircraft that you're operating in, you have to think about your distance and then utilize that as that's my reference point for the other aircraft. Why is this so important to know your distance, especially when we're reacting to contact? Let's say we're in an enemy environment. Do we want to be real close, real tight together? What does that do for us? What does that not do for us? Well, we're tight together, so that means we're closer together. We can maximize our firepower. But if I have to break, let's say, example, for this day example, if I have to break to the right because we have enemy on the left, what's the likeliness of the reaction for my number two to not react as fast as I do? I break right into him, and now we both had a bad day, and we have to restart our mission. I might say, hey, let's do a loose formation. Let's be about 4 rotor widths away. So those are things to consider. Nighttime, you want to be a little bit further away. Hey, let's do 2 or 3. Because if we have to react to contact again, remember, my reaction is instantaneous. You're going to hear it over the radio. So that's going to be a second delay. Well, the next guy might see your action, and that's 2 seconds delay. So being close, being far away, in a desert environment, do we want to be spread out so we're less likely to be impacted by, you know, multiple rounds, or do we want to be close together when we're in a wooded environment and we're flying at treetop level? Those are always things to consider that you have to think about. Am I doing the right thing for the right environment that I'm operating in? Speed is also another thing. So just because we're going fast and I say brake this, brake left or brake right, I have to think about how's it going to affect guys in the back. If I'm doing 90 knots and I want to maintain the formation, I'm going to be whipping my trail guy. My guy, he's going to have to like freaking pull the guts out of the bird just to keep up with us. So if we're braking hard, what is that going to do for my formation? What do I need to consider as far as speed goes? And then also, if you break formation, how are you going to reformat back up? Are we going to go back into, let's say, a staging area, or we're flying along and I say, hey, we're crossing over this waypoint. Everybody see it? Yes. So if we come in contact and we break, let's rally at this location. Let's do it at this staging area. You see that lake? Okay, if we come in contact, we're going to go to that lake. So think about all that stuff. So when we form up in formations, we have to consider that. And also, are we forming up in a location that we're a prime target for? So those are things that when I am flying with a group, I'm always considering. Formations are also going to be MET-T dependent. Now, you've always heard this from me. Anytime I say, hey, we're going to do this, and you ask a question, and I said, well, that's MET-T dependent. What's the enemy going to do? What is our mission? How is the weather going to affect us? How's the terrain going to affect us? How the troops or what we carry in or what the enemy's carrying? What type of time frame do we have? If we react to a contact, do we need to bugger out and get to our mission location, or can we stay and fight and destroy the enemy that just fired a couple rounds? If we're in a big convoy of aircraft and we've got 3 or 4 Chinooks with us, and we've got 2 or 3 Hueys, and we've got 2 or 3 Apaches, and we have this lone guy in a pickup truck that has a Zeus 23, and he's firing at us, do we all need to engage him? Do we need to just continue on? Is that guy that's on the ground, is he trying to slow us down so we don't make it to our location on time? So we always have to think about what type of formation we're going to be in, MET-T dependent. So the tips, tactics, and procedures or techniques, TTPs. You'll hear me say this, but anything you do, you want to do it in pairs. So always think about when you're flying, do it as a team, because pairs will save your life. Why do I say that? If I come in contact with somebody The guy right next to me can see those tracers. He might see something I don't see. And he says, "Hey, smoke in the air coming from the right." Okay, I'm going to break away from it. Eyes in the sky. So do everything in pairs, do everything in teams, because just because you have a pair of one helicopter and another helicopter, you can have another pair. So you have two teams doing the exact same thing, providing that mutual support. So when we get ready to go today, you're going to develop your own tactical SOPs. So you could be using, "Hey, I'm ready," green status or redcon 1, all sorts of stuff. So when we do today, part of our pre-brief, when we go out to our aircraft and be talking, I will go ahead and give a simple, formation. "Hey, if you're ready, your lights are going to be on. If we're at nighttime, when your lights are off, I know everybody's ready." When we do a hover check and I see everybody hover, I know everybody's ready. So I don't have to use the radio. I can say part of my tactical SOP, what are we going to do in order to ensure that everybody knows what everybody is doing? Lights on, "Hey, I'm not ready yet." Lights off, "I'm ready." Your landing lights on, "I'm ready to take off." Okay. Or, you know, turn it in a direction. You could say, when everybody forms up in direction of north, I know everybody is ready. I got one helicopter that's facing the east. Okay, I'm waiting for him to turn north because he's not ready yet. Did I have to talk on the radio? No. So use your own ways to communicate when you're ready to go, because that also applies to how you're going to react to contact, and that's where practice comes in. Altitude considerations for today. This also affects us also when we're reacting to contact. If we're higher compared to being lower, what are we going to do? So we are going to discuss that in more detail as well. But this is a reminder. So fast movers usually are 1,500 feet and above. The only ones that really go below 1,500 feet are the A-10s and the Frogfoots. So those are about the only aircraft that really fly in the helicopters realm. But routinely, we fly 1,500 feet or below. And when we're in the traffic pattern, we're at 500 feet. And then when we are operating in the traffic pattern and we are hovering or taxiing, we're usually 10 to 15 feet. Now, I want everybody to look over to the left side in the battlefield environment. And a reminder, we have bounding overwatch, traveling overwatch, and traveling. So those are depending on the situation of where are we at? Are we knowing that we're going to be in contact with the enemy? We might be doing a bounding overwatch compared to just transporting over the battlefield. We don't have to worry about the enemy. We know that they're somewhere around, but hey, they're not in our area. We might have a lone person that pops off, so we might be doing a traveling formation. So Met T dependent, likeliness of some kind of enemy activity. We're going to do nap of the earth. We're going to be expecting contacts, so we're going to do a bounding overwatch. We're going to be doing it slow. We're going to be doing it low. So if we're doing that, we're going to react to contact differently compared to a traveling overwatch. We think the enemy's around here, but we're just going to fly low. We're going to fly, in essence, at power line level. So when we do power line level stuff, we have a little bit more area to maneuver. So again, how are we going to react to contact compared to traveling? Okay, yeah, we're low level. We're 250 feet. We're flying. We're doing good. I have a lot more area to maneuver. I might be able to, oh, there's smoke in the air. I could dive and drive towards safety. So those are things to consider. Traveling formations. So again, reminder how traveling formations look. We have a staggered formation. We have a cruise formation. Like saying combat cruise. I could say, hey, we're going to do a free cruise. We're going in this direction, going to the waypoint. That means I don't care where you are at. If I don't see you, I don't have to worry about you. So if I know that you're beyond my 45 degrees field of view, hey, I don't care where you're at. I'm allowing you that flexibility to be above, below, a little bit left, a little bit right. I don't want you to be directly behind me because then you're in a line formation. But that gives you a lot more freedom to maneuver. You can be a little bit further away and so forth. But we might say we need, for accountability purposes, we need to be staggered left or staggered right. So again, the staggered left and staggered right are just formations for accountability purposes. Echelons, same thing. Line formations, same thing. The line formation is like one of the easiest because you're just following the person in front of you. It might be you have guys that are flying with you that are very low experience on their helicopter, so they can't chew bubble gum and pat their head at the same time. So you make it easy for them. Hey, we're going to be in a line. You just follow the guy in front of you. Well, what does that really do? That also means they're not looking to the left and to the right. So there's pluses and minuses to all sorts of traveling formations. So the traveling overwatch, if we're doing a reactive contact, we might say, okay, we're most likely going to come in contact with somebody. Let's go ahead and do a traveling overwatch. What does that mean? The word overwatch says it just like it is. We're overwatching each other. We're traveling together, but we're going to overwatch each other. We're going to protect each other. If you come in contact, you might not see it. I can tell you, hey, you got contact to the left. And that gives you the situational awareness, the eyes in the sky to allow you to maneuver. We have a heavy platoon. We might say, hey, I'm going to put my little guys in front. Those guys might not carry a whole lot of weapons, so they can maneuver. So if they come in contact, they can break contact, while the heavy platoon, or the guys that are really carrying the heavy munitions, can engage ground contacts. And then we have the bounding overwatch. The bounding overwatch is, in essence, is leapfrogging. You're going as a team, as a pair, you're going from one protection. You're set, you're looking, everything looks good. You say, okay, you can go ahead and move to your safe position. And you are just bounding left and right all the way up. Same kind of contact. If you see it and you have contact, you'll call out the contact and then they'll act accordingly. Hey, he's bounding up, and all of a sudden he's trying to pay attention to make sure he doesn't get surprised in the front, but all of a sudden there's smoke coming up his rear. Hey, contact rear. He's going to go ahead and maybe break forward, maybe go left, go right, while you do a suppression of the enemy. So bounding works together when you're doing a contact drill. And then you have teams doing the exact same thing as teams. So we're bounding to next spot. Okay, I'm secured. My wingman has got me covered. We're not in contact with anybody. Roger that. Okay, we're set. You go ahead and move forward. Boom. We are set. No contact with the enemy. You bound forward. Oh shit, contact. Contact on the hill. Contact in the road. Contact on the bridge. Contact right. Contact left. So now we're starting to react to the contact, but we're doing it methodically. We're doing it as a team and we're bounding. So we're, again, using my favorite word, MET-T. What's our mission? What's the enemy doing? How's the terrain affecting us? How's the weather? What are we carrying? What can we do? What's our time available? So now we're getting into the nuts and bolts of the session. React to enemy contact. Now, usually this is what we say, and I want everybody to kind of think about the helicopter. So the helicopter is not a fast mover. So a ground commander thinks of a helicopter as another chess piece on the board that maneuvers. So just like a knight, just like a bishop, you can consider us the knight because we can bound over things and we can position ourselves to engage the enemy. We're not a pawn. We're not a rook. We're not a bishop. We're not even a queen. So that ground commander talks to us in the same way he talks to a guy in a tank or in a vehicle or an infantry guy talking to his buddy. You know, they come in contact at a village and they got sniper fire, contact left, contact 2 o'clock, contact 3 o'clock. And you might hear the exact same thing when you're flying with a group, let's say military guys. And military guys, when you say contact right, we know exactly what you are saying. We don't care what it is. We know bad things are happening in that direction. So, what are we going to do? We are going to get away from that as fast as possible. We need to get away from it because we don't know if we're in a kill box. So, this is an example of looking at our danger area. How are we going to do this? If you think about it, the helicopters are just representing what are we doing in essence when we have a contact. If it's in front of us, we're going to go ahead and brake. We're going to split. If it's behind us, we might just freaking just haul butt away from it. If we come in contact and it's to the left of us, what are we going to do? We're going to brake right. Now, when we do this type of stuff, it might mean the ones that are in contact breaks contact by leaving the kill box or the danger area that they have just now tripped into. And the guys that are outside that, let's say the trail element, sees those tracers and now can start laying down suppressive fire on that location to provide, maybe pull their attention away from the guys that they have their sights on to focus on you. So now you're diverting their attention, giving that crucial moment to have your friends survive the battle. Okay, so this is an example. First guy calls contact. Look, we're going to use the brake and right. So contact left. What are we going to do? We're going to brake right. Aircraft noses over 45 degrees. Does a 45 degrees bank. Just freaking pounds it to get out of, because he doesn't know where he doesn't know where the enemy is. You might not know where those tracer fires are coming from, so you just have to exit the AO. You might want to drop an altitude, call a direction, call a distance. Sometimes when you get artillery, you would say, artillery, boom, it hits. Oh, contact, 2 o'clock, brake right. You see the hill? Freeform up over at that hill. Or, hey, continue flying to the road. Boom. So you're out and you're giving guidance to everybody of what you're doing. What was it? If the guys that are behind you and they see it, they might not see what it is, but they might say, smoke in the air, smoke in the air, smoke in the air. That means there's a missile. Or, hey, there's tracer fires. Or you might see a lot of bullets. Hey, there's a emplacement. There's a ZSU-23 right located at your 2 o'clock. Brake right, brake right, brake right. And those are things to consider. If you're unable to break contact, then you have to fight it out. But always remember, if you are in their weapons range or their WAS, and you are in a position that if you stay there, you're going to get shot up, you're going to go down. What are you going to do? Are you going to stay there and try to find the enemy and try to put rounds on them? Hell no. Back away, get some distance, then come back to set up for a kill shot. So let's see from the front, and these are just examples. Okay, contact front. We're gonna dig it, right? We're gonna dig it. We got an enemy could be a light armor, it could be heavy armor, it could be an air defense location, it could be fixed emplacement, it could be a SAM site. What are we gonna do? Now, this example here is I've got two teams. I've got one team that comes in contact. They might all of a sudden start seeing the explosions, see the bullets coming in their direction. The second team sees where it's at, and now they are starting to engage. So they might use, let's say, the rockets. They might use guns, depending on their distance. They might start using missiles. get rounds over to the enemy to suppress that enemy. What do we know is we need to get out of the kill box that we are currently in. So this group would immediately start either breaking left, breaking right, maybe split to go around the enemy as well. But we need to break that contact. Now, when we do that, what are our options right now? Our options when we have something in front of us is we can either suppress or we're going to break contact. We might say we fire some rounds, we get them to stop firing at our guys that are in their kill box, and they break contact because all these guys here was just to slow us down, so we cannot accomplish our mission. All right. So think about that. So contact front, I might say breaking left, breaking left. And then the second team is we ID the contact. We're going to start engaging the contact. What is your rules of engagement going to be? Depends on Met T. What is our mission? How are we going to do this? So, rules of engagement for this example might have been we are getting from point A to point B. We're going along this route. If we come in enemy contact, we're going to break contact. We're going to suppress and we're going to identify what it is and we're going to call it in and let somebody else take it out, because if we use our munitions on that object, then we cannot use our munitions on our mission's objective. So we need to break contact. Or it might be we're conducting scouting operations and we're actually trying to contact the enemy. So we might be doing this might be a bounding situation. So the first team starts to bound forward. The second team behind is already set. They've got their weapons. They're looking good. Everybody's good. And you start bounding forward, and then all of a sudden, boom, on the other side of the trees, there's a ZSU emplacement. There is a BMP emplacement. There's T-72s. There could be a Shoka. There could be, all of a sudden, holy Toledo, there's a SAM site that is located. We did not know it was there. Within the last 12 hours, it all of a sudden popped up. Break contact, suppress the enemy, boom. So, again, what are we practicing? What are we going to do? All situations are different. So think about it when you are talking with your buddies and you're flying with a group. What are you going to do? Are you doing a convoy mission that you're trying to destroy a convoy? Okay. What if you come in contact with another convoy? What are you going to do? Is it along the road that you're flying? What are you going to do? So let's use the example of a left or right side contact. So you'd hear me say, we're flying along, we're going from point A to point B. All of a sudden, in the tree lines along this road, contact right. I see tracers, or the guy behind me, contact right. Boom. We might not have enough time to waz our weapon systems in that direction. So what are we going to do? We're going to get out of the kill box. Again, break contact, get out of the kill box. And then what we'll do is assess our situation. Do we need to engage the enemies? Do we need to bypass the enemy? Or what does ABF and SBF stand for? Attack by fire position or support by fire positions. What is our rules of engagement? What is that mission commander, according to Met T, says that we need to do? Contact right, break left, break left, break left. We're all breaking left. We don't know where the enemy is. We saw smoke in the air, or trail says smoke in the air, smoke, contact right, smoke in the air, break left, break left. We're breaking left. We don't know where the enemy is. We're diving, we're driving right into protection. We're going to utilize the terrain to our advantage. Then we'll assess. Then the commander will say, okay, guys, where's that coming from? It came from the small town left side. It was just on the edge of the town. There was smoke in the air, went right for you. Roger that. Okay, let's go ahead and let's break contact. Let's set up a support by fire position and we'll engage. So now you have just now reacted to contact. So that is, in essence, a step in the process. What are you initially going to do? The follow up will be what's the actions after the contact? What if we have contact rear? So you fly over, no big deal. You're flying, you might be even bounding. So you bound to the next hill, you bound past that hill. All of a sudden, out of the woodwork in the trees on the other side of the hill, right behind you, boom, there is explosions happening. There's tracer fires. What are you going to do? Contact rear. We're going to exit. We're going to get away from that because if we try to turn around right now, we might just be sitting targets. We don't know if that was to make us stop. So now we're in a kill box. We're already going away from where the enemy is. So let's continue that approach. Correction. Let's continue that exit away from the enemy. So what's our options? Break contact or return to engage that contact. And if we do, we're going to do a split. So what does that mean? Boom. Hey, contact rear. And that might be part of your rules of engagement. We're there to find, fix, and destroy the enemy. So if we're doing that, our rules of engagement might mean, hey, we don't leave any stone unturned. Contact rear. Roger that. We're going to split. That was part of our rules of engagement, how we're going to engage the enemy. So if we're going to do that and somebody calls contact rear, what's the guys in front going to do? What's the guys in the rear going to do? What's your team going to do? You might have this already say, hey, any contact in the rear, the guys in front are always going to go right. The guys in the rear are always going to go left. We just now made a tactical SOP. Who's doing what, when? Anytime we have contact rear, the leads always go right. Trail always goes left. That's just according to me. It doesn't mean that is the right. It's however you guys want to go ahead and put this in your toolbox. So we have contact rear. We're going to split. We're going to engage the enemy. So by doing that, it's pretty simple. One breaks right, finds, fix, starts to engage, while the other group breaks the other direction, finds, fix, and we are diverting the attention of that enemy's location to now, instead of focusing on the entire group, they have to choose which one are they going to start to engage to allow the other group to get into a better position to maybe suppress or maybe to fix the enemy so you can destroy the enemy. So you're going to either break contact or you're going to set a support or attack by fire position. A static. Now, this is a lot of times, a static is usually in a mount environment or military operation in urban terrain. So if we're doing it in a city or in a village, you might fly directly over where the enemy is located. And they only have, let's call it a funnel that they can attack directly overhead. So where can you not see? Directly below you. So you might fly over it and be like, I see tracer fires. I don't know where they're coming from. So what are you going to say? Contact, break, 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 break. So tactical SOP, what are we going to do? So if we're flying over it and nobody sees where this, they see tracer fires, they see explosion, they see smoke just past them. They don't know where it's coming from. We're going to go ahead and break formation. This formation might be a star formation. You know, everybody breaks away from the location of the formation. And anytime you do this stuff, I'm going to brief it as if we break formation and we lose our situational awareness where everybody else is at, we are always going to rally at this point. Any point that, any waypoint that we passed over, we're going to go, you know, in that direction and we're going to rally on this side of the waypoint. So those are things to consider when you're doing your briefing. So contact, we're flying over, we see explosions, we see bullets, hairs on fire, people screaming, it's mayhem. You don't know where the enemy is. You just call out break, 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 break. And where's that going to be? That is, you're telling everybody to break formation, get away, because you are in a kill box. We don't know who's in the kill box. We don't know where the enemy is. Everybody, you need to get away and get to safety. So you're going to go in any one of those directions. What's your options? To break contact. Bottom line, it's not there to stay there and try to fight it out and try to find them, because they see you, you don't see them. They've already got a bead on you. So if you try to stay, you will get hit, you will go down, and then that's the end of your day. So break, break, break. Doesn't matter. I don't know if that's for me or not. I'm breaking formation. I am breaking away. I am getting out of the AO, because I don't know if that bullet has my name written on it, or if that missile with smoke in the air is in my direction targeting me, or that RPG is focused on me, or that that laser guided missile from that T-80 or T-70 or T-90 tank is got my name written all over it. So I'm going to break. I'm going to try to get to safety. So if we're doing contact rear again, we're going to go ahead and go back, and we're going to go ahead and just destroy the enemy. We might set up that support by fire position and so forth. So after the contact, after you've engaged, now you can say this is the second half of any activity. We react to contact. Okay. If we're going to react to contact and we're going to bypass them, we're just going to go ahead and, hey, here's the location where they were at. Boom. I'm going to send that up to my command and control and say, hey, we've got ZSU 23. We've got a man pad. We've got this and that at this location. Roger that. So that commander might say, puts a bubble around that area and says, okay, no other aircraft goes in there until we take that out, or we focus on taking that out. You continue your mission to your objective. It might be a reconnaissance mission. You might not react to contact. Let's say now you've done that, and now what you need to do is destroy the enemy. So what are we going to do? This is after the reaction has happened. You can go ahead and identify what the target was. How are you going to engage it? And always remember, you do things one at a time. Even as a team, you're going to engage one at a time. There's one guy always covering the guy that's pulling the trigger, because you could be doing this. You could be doing the racetrack pattern that you see here to the lower left. And you engage, and all of a sudden, right below, all of a sudden, tracer fire comes up. Well, if you're engaging that target, he's engaging that target. Nobody is looking to watch or protect their buddy or their teammate, and that's getting shot up with all sorts of bullet holes. Same goes with, let's say, an L engagement. You have two groups. You got one, and you're always saying, hey, you're always going to break to the right. I'm going to break to the left. And you start to attack. One is attacking at any given time, so the other group can overwatch or ensure that they are covering the group that's coming in. So protection. And again, if you see tracer fires, you call it. Contact, it could be you see the other team and they come in contact, and you tell them, hey, contact north, contact south, contact east, or hey, contact left. And what are they going to do? They're going to break right. Okay. So any one of these, you're still watching, and you're still going to react to contact, because your focus with the guy that's pulling the trigger is destroying the enemy. Your teammate is behind you, to the left, to the right, or as another group, providing that overwatch. I've got you covered. You're going in there. contact right, break left. And you're telling him to do that. So you're reacting to contact. You're doing these contact drills that even when you're attacking something, you might not see the whole picture. So that's why we do it as a group, as a team. So remember a couple of things. One is situational awareness is the key to success. Talking on the radio, saying stuff like contacts, left, contacts right, being clear and concise. What is your SOP? What are you going to say to keep everybody on the same sheet of music to understand exactly what's going on? Maintaining that situational awareness is the key to success for the group. Have a plan based off of expectations that you are considering that you might be encountering. Okay. So, rules of engagement. Everybody says, hey, what's the rules of engagement? Well, don't fire unless fired upon. Okay. Well, we're conducting a recon. What's the rules of engagement? Well, if you come in contact, break contact, locate, find, and fix the enemy, report it to higher. That's a rule of engagement. Now, I'm not telling you to destroy the enemy. I'm not telling you to put your bullets on them, but I'm telling you what the rules of engagements are. You might be transporting. What's the rules of engagement? If you come in contact with the enemy, you are to bypass the enemy. That's a rule of engagement. Or, okay, you're going in and we need to find out where the enemy is located. So, rules of engagement. If you come in contact, the rules of engagement is do not destroy the enemy unless you see and you can positively identify that they have heavy armor. I don't want you to use your munitions on something that is a scout. We will leave the scouts to be destroyed by somebody else. Your rule of engagement is if it's anything that is not a track vehicle, you are to bypass it. Oh, that's a rule of engagement right there. Bam. You come in contact, you get a missile shot up at you, and it's coming from a BMP. You're not going to destroy that BMP. You're just going to bugger out and you're going to go around them and you're going to try to find those tanks. Create your own SOPs. Now, your SOPs is just based with the group that you're flying with and the needs that you all want to work together. You go on to any server, the Rotorhead server, or other servers that have these cool missions. You develop your own SOPs as a group. How are we going to communicate? How are we going to talk? How are we going to work? How are we going to fly? What's our formation? What are we going to do if we come in contact with somebody? Oh, okay. And then always remember practice, practice, practice. Practice is so important. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? With practice. And just like what we're doing this afternoon, and we're doing our practical side of the house, you do this with your group. This can be very, very challenging. You can say you're doing training nights with a particular flight group that you're doing, and you're doing mission stuff, and you've got a mission in the future for your group. Okay, what are we doing? Let's do some practice. What are we going to do for practice? One of the things is, hey, let's do some reactive contact. How are we going to do if we're in a woodland environment and this mission that we're doing in 4 weeks has us fighting an enemy that's in the woods? How are we going to operate? How are we going to react to contact to something that we don't know where it's at? How about in the city? It's in a valley. How are we going to react to contact? We might not be able to break left, break right. It might be contact front. I immediately pull up. And if we say contact front, we're going to immediately pull up. We're going to show our belly, but we are going to bugger out directly the same direction that we came from. Okay. That might be our only option, but you have to practice it, because if you don't, when it hits the fan, which it always does, and you are not expecting it, all your plans go out the window because you didn't talk about it. You didn't practice it. You didn't make it as muscle memory for your group. So your group now looks like a bunch of helicopters that are flying into each other, not trying to kill each other and not trying to be killed by the enemy. So it creates a lot more mayhem. Set your expectations. Always brief the 5 W's: the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why. Ask for feedback on your plan. Even if it's the rules of engagement, even if you're doing contact drills, get that feedback, because you could easily say, hey, every time we come in contact and we have somebody in the front, I'm always going to go right, you're going to go left. Well, what if we change formation? What if you are now the number 3 guy? Are you always going right and I'm always going left? And then the guy that's right behind me, now he's going right and the guy behind you is going left? Or, oh, yeah, I did not say that right. No, the team up front is always going to go right. The team in the back is always going to go left. Or the number 1 guy in the formation is always going to go right. The number 2 guy is always going to go left. Those are the things that you ask and identify those errors in your plan to create solutions. And then rehearse the plan. If you're doing even these drills, just like we're doing right now, you can go with your buddies and you can fly with them and you can go over these most important drills to say, how are we going to react to contact? How are we going to see, I got smoke on the right. What am I doing? I am diving and driving to the left. I am going to go always behind those hills. I'm going to set up a position, or we're going to go to a rally point, and that's going to be our rally point. And anytime I fly, and if you've ever flown with me in any of the groups I fly with, or on any missions, you'll always see that when we're flying, I'm always pointing out things. Hey guys, y'all see that bridge we just flew over? Yeah. Hey, if we break formation, we're gonna rally at that point, and then we're gonna rally back up. Roger that. 2 or 3 minutes later, hey, do you see that river right there? You see it goes into that lake. Hey, if we have any contacts, let's meet up there. That's gonna be our next rally point. I'm starting to create and do that and get that feedback. So you'll always see that. So today's practical. This is mission 26034. And as you can tell, year 26, mission is 34. So that is the 34 mission of the Advanced Rotary Sessions, ARS. And this is our practical. Our practical, if you've done the formation flying, you'll notice that it's the same waypoints, but we have little enemy activities here. So our mission, the 5 W's, is the 501st. We'll conduct a flight along Route Daisy no later than 0735 local in order to conduct contact and drill training. So we have different locations here. Excuse me. We're going to be starting from Palmyra. On the Syria map, we have waypoint 1. Waypoint 1 is a racetrack. Waypoint 2 is an intersection, T intersection on the southern side of a ridge line. There is enemy activity over there. So there could be SA-18s or AAA all located around this area. We're going to be bypassing that, but we don't know. We might come in contact. We don't know. We might change and say we're going to go to waypoint 5. Don't know. We'll continue down to waypoint 4, which is a town. We don't know if there might be enemy activity and stuff there as well. And waypoint 5 is going to be an airfield. We can do a refuel if needed to. We'll do a quick fuel check and time check, and we might go ahead and do a quick splash of gas. Continue on to waypoint 6 along this low-lying terrain. So different areas that we are discussing here has different terrain features that we need to consider. How are we going to travel? How are we going to react to contact if we do? And we will practice that along this entire route. Waypoint 7, this has rolling hills. Waypoint 8, this has rolling hills going all the way to waypoint 8, but it has a lot of small little towns. How are we going to react to contact in that? Waypoint 9 is an airfield, and then again along a route. What are we going to do if we're along a route? We have contact. And then finally, we'll most likely either A, get gas at waypoint 5, get gas at waypoint 9, and then head back to Palmyra. And when we do that, we might go ahead and swing around to the north, coming in from the north to Palmyra to enter a cross-field landing. So as you see there, we also have guaranteed, we've got AAA located just north of Palmyra. So as you see here, we do have enemy activities. We do have other kind of things that we need to think about. So our staging today is going to be pretty simple. We are going to go to the aircraft. The server is North America Custom Server on Tactical DCS. And it's going to show, and you're going to see the name of it. It's going to say contact drills, so forth. You're going to go ahead and get in there. Your helos are going to be all primarily hot started. So the frequencies are going to be already uploaded. Your weapons you can modify. You can take whatever weapons you deem appropriate. And also weight as far as fuel. Anything that you need to be as appropriate. I'm going to restart the server here once we get finished with our training. So it's a fresh start. It's going to be morning time frame. The wind is going to be coming from the east, moving west about 5 to 10 knots. The sun will be coming up over the horizon. We have helicopters doing their activity. We have field artillery doing their activity. So there's a lot of stuff happening at the airfield. You will hear radio comms from Trash, which is a CH-47 flight that they'll be coming in. So you're going to be hearing stuff on the radio. Remember, this is an active airfield. So we have C-130s flying. We have C-17s flying. We have enemy aircraft flying. We have all sorts of stuff going on. We are going to hop into our aircraft. We're going to look at our knee boards. Our knee boards are already going to have a tactical SOP already on them. Plus, it's going to have our route on them. So you're going to look at that route. You're going to look at that tactical SOP as a reminder of what you might or might forgot. When you look at that, you're also going to see there's also a communication page and so forth. And we will remind ourselves how to talk on the radio and so forth. How are we going to talk? What are we going to do? What's our actions as we fly? We're going to get into our helicopters. We're going to go to the runway. So you're going to air taxi to the runway and you're going to line up. So when we get on the airfield today, I'm going to be the lead. You see that UH-1 Huey, it's facing the south. I'm going to go ahead and be in an Apache. I'm going to be facing to the north. So I'm going to actually turn around. I'm going to face the north. You can take whatever helicopter that you're going to be flying today. It does not matter. And your call sign when you get into the aircraft, it might be Ghost Rider, Pale Rider. That does not matter. Once you get to the runway and you line up on the runway, just like this in a staggered formation, we will be Ghost Rider. That's going to be our call sign. And it's going to be from 1 in sequence to whatever aircraft that is set in their position. So the lead will be 1, the number 2 will be 2, 3, 4. So if you need to get on the radio and whoever you are, Ghost Rider 2, Ghost Rider 3, Ghost Rider 4. I don't have to worry about the 1, 1, 1, 2, and all that good stuff. Once we are established and everybody knows what number they are when we are talking on the radio for brevity, we'll just use 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth. When you are set in your position, you will say either set. If you are saddling in position, you will say saddle. I am saddled in my position. I am set in my position. It is okay. I will always talk what our speeds and our altitudes are going to be prior to doing the adjustments. And we will also change formations up. So we're going to do different formations today because you're going to see how hard it is to react to contact in different formations as we fly also. So we're going to do a lot of stuff today on the practical. Line up on the runway, look at your knee boards, review your stuff. You're going to hear me on Discord. Everybody is going to be able to talk to me on SRS. Okay, so we'll get on our SRS. I'll make sure whatever aircraft you're flying, we will adjust to ensure that everybody can hear everybody talking on the radio. I'll be talking on Discord for only one reason, as an instructor, to say things to get people to remind on stuff. Results of the training mission, we identified some features that these are prime examples that you can utilize. See this in action. Actions of what do you do when you have the contact. So starting out, reason why we're in formation, reason why we also judge our distance is we need to ensure that location from our aircraft to another aircraft is going to be proper. Because if you have to evade, you don't want to be so tight in your formation that you're going to create a hazard. And then people are going to be breaking formations, trying to avoid the ground, trying to avoid the person in front or behind them. So here is an example of that in action. We have a contact from the right, which you can see my cursor on the right side. We're simulating contact right. So the first two aircraft are going to brake left. Everybody's braking away from the activity. When that happens, you're going to see how close we are together. And then when we conduct this turn, how because of my aggressiveness as the lead helicopter, potentially created a impact on the trailing helicopter that was directly behind in the number 2 position, which is purple. So we call out contact. We broke real hard, and because of that, my number 2 aircraft tried to avoid impacting the lead helicopter. As a result, out of formation, lost situational awareness, and everybody did not know who was in the lead. So, first initial impression was we all conducted the break away from the enemy, reevaluate to establish a new point to continue the mission. But this is an example of distance according to the situation. If you are flying where you know there's hostiles, you might not want to be so close together. If you are transporting and you have a transport group, you might want to have them close together, but you need to consider if they have to break, how is it going to affect the formation and how is it going to whip all the aircraft. So we're in an echelon formation and we are simulating that we have a contact front. We already created that SOP previously to say team 1, you're going to do left, team 2, you're going to do right, team 3, you're going to go left, and so forth. You're going to see now when we have that contact front, even though we're in echelon formation, we already have a predetermined path that we're going to do if we have contact with the enemy. So you're going to see this, and notice when we do this, we all don't cross a line. We immediately conduct this action. So we see it, we have contact front, a person calls out contact front. We start our break. We're braking, everybody's braking, and if you'll notice, nobody ever passes this line. We identify a rally point immediately to regroup so we can continue our mission. And as a result, then we can fly and reform and then create a new battle plan in case the mission has gone awry or we need to do something else to continue to prosecute or to continue our mission towards our objective.
This is an example of contact front. You can see how far inside the threat rings we are able to ingress here. That's because the hostiles are set to fire at 30% of their maximum range in order to simulate a kill box just on their side of the road. As one sees fire, he immediately calls contact front and begins his turn. 2 starts to suppress, continuing inbound until he sees 1 at his 45-degree angle. 2 continues to suppress, turning inside 1 not to ingress on the kill box, and as he loses gimbal, suppression fire is no longer effective and the flight begins to take fire. With contact right, the escape turn is to the left, so this looks exactly the same. 1 will call contact right, begin his turn, 2 will start to suppress, continuing to suppress until he sees that 45-degree angle, and then he'll turn outbound. At this point, one is looking for a rally point, and a good suggestion is this hilltop on his 12 o'clock. Contact left is exactly the same, except for the direction of the turn. You can see it is not effective fire from number 2, but it is suppressing the hostiles. Without seeing any return fire to stop suppressing, then immediately the flight begins to take fire again. Some examples of actions after contact are the L pattern, the racetrack, the cloverleaf can be used to gain better angles behind any obstacles in the target area at the expense of travelling further out on the flanks. So if there are further enemy units to either side, it may not be the best option. The figure 8 pattern is a compromise between gaining angles on cover in the target area and minimizing exposure from an expected threat direction. This is a simulation of contact rear where we overfly a ridgeline and there are troops on the far side. Contact rear is a split action where the elements will turn in the opposite directions to begin suppressing fire on the target area. Before turning out again to rejoin.
And in this scenario, we have two teams that are going to engage, and they're going to be a constant engagement. So we're going to provide that overwatch until the team that is being engaged has exited the kill box. It's very, very important because you're providing overwatch over each other. So when you have contact drills, what are you going to do? And here's going to be the example of how team one and team two can work together. So we have contact. We start calling it out. Contact to the right. They break left. We immediately provide rocket support and engaging fire. We're suppressing the enemy. Team two completely breaks away. And we connect and we reestablish a rally point. So now we can identify, fix, or find and fix the enemy to engage them. So these are just examples of contact drills. What are we going to do? What are we going to do if we have contact left, contact front, contact rear, contact right? We might be flying over the contact. In this example, they flew right over the contact. And what are they going to do? So if you have that pre-briefed, you can actually maximize your capabilities of surviving the battlefield.